So, you are playing Space Marine 2 surrounded by a horde of Tyranids, armor is nearly gone, health hanging by a thread, and then you see it. A vulnerable enemy flashing red, primed for an execution. It's time to make the most of this situation and bring down the Emperor's judgment with brutal efficiency. Executions are not just about looking cool, though let's be real, they do look very cool. They are also vital to your survival in Space Marine 2. In today's episode, let's go in deep into how you can master the art of executions and use them to stay alive and maximize your combat effectiveness. Trust me, you're going to need these tips if you want to survive the endless waves of enemies that the game throws at you. If you're as excited as we are about today's topic, show some love by liking and subscribing to Retro Pocket for more amazing content. Why do executions matter? If you've ever been in the middle of a brawl desperately low on health and armor, you already know why executions matter. They're your lifeline, your last resort, your get-out-of-jail-free card when things go south. Executions in Space Marine 2 aren't just fancy kill animations. They restore your armor and give you a significant tactical edge in the heat of battle. When you execute an enemy, you'll notice that a chunk of your armor gets replenished. This means that in the thick of combat, when your armor bar is dangerously low, performing a well-timed execution can be the difference between life and death. So don't just save executions for fun moments. Use them strategically. Spotting execution opportunities. So, how do you know when it's time to execute? Well, when an enemy is vulnerable and ready for the big finish, you'll see them flashing red. This is your cue to swoop in and perform an execution, but be careful. Getting greedy for executions can leave you exposed, especially when you're surrounded by enemies or taking heavy fire. In Space Marine 2, bigger and tougher enemies offer more armor when you execute them. This means that while you might be tempted to quickly finish off the smaller grunts for easy armor boosts, it's often more rewarding to go after the larger enemies who will replenish your armor more fully. Gun strikes and executions, the perfect combo. One of the more fun mechanics in Space Marine 2 is the gun strike. Stagger an enemy with a heavy melee hit and you'll be able to follow up with a gun strike, a cinematic pistol shot that delivers critical damage. If you're looking to maximize your efficiency, you can chain gun strikes into executions, allowing you to maintain your armor while dishing out tons of damage. For example, after staggering a larger enemy, instead of immediately going for the kill, hit them with a gun strike to soften them up. Then, once they're flashing red, finish them off with an execution. Not only does this keep your health and armor in check, but it's also ridiculously satisfying. Mastering the parry and dodge mechanics. Executions aren't just about attacking, they're about knowing when to counter. In Space Marine 2, you can parry enemy attacks when you see a blue circle appear. Timing a parry perfectly against a smaller enemy will result in an instant kill, while larger enemies will be staggered, giving you the chance to follow up with either a gun strike or an execution. However, not all attacks can be parried, so if you see an orange circle, it's time to dodge. Dodging and parrying are crucial for setting up execution opportunities, especially in the midst of a chaotic battle. Learn to read your enemy's attacks and take advantage of those stagger moments to land your executions. Execution variety, know your enemies. Another layer to executions in Space Marine 2 is that different enemies provide different benefits when executed. Basic enemies will only give you a small chunk of armor, but when you take down something more challenging, like a Tyranid warrior or one of the game's larger foes, you'll receive a much larger armor boost. In fact, some enemies, like the Ravenors or Lictors, will completely refill your armor when executed. That's right, going after these big boys will turn the tide of battle in your favor. So while it's tempting to clear out the little guys first, make sure you prioritize the bigger targets for those armor-filling executions. Keep an eye on your environment. It's not all about melee attacks and executions, though. As you traverse the battlefields of Space Marine 2, you'll come across Astra Militarum supply crates. These unassuming boxes contain grenades, ammo, and most importantly, armor boosters. These boosters instantly refill your armor and can be a literal lifesaver in tough situations. But remember, sharing is caring. If you don't need that extra grenade or armor boost, highlight it for your teammates by pressing T so they can benefit from it. After all, a well-equipped squad is a happy squad. surviving when things get hairy. Sometimes even the best laid plans fall apart. Maybe you've used all your executions and you're still getting swarmed by Tyranids. In situations like these, you'll need to rely on another trick up your sleeve: Medicae stims. These consumables are your health-restoring friend and can be the difference between success and failure in tougher missions. But here's the kicker: Medicae stims can even heal mortal wounds. These are the big bad status effects you get when you've been downed too many times. So make sure to use your Medicae stims wisely, especially if you're already at full health. It'll keep you fighting longer and stronger. Know when to collapse the pileup. If you've played Space Marine too long enough, you've probably seen the ridiculous pileups of Tyranids scrambling to climb walls or swarm your position. Instead of trying to pick them off one by one, focus your fire on the mass itself. The game treats these pileups as a single entity, so dealing enough damage to the center can cause the whole thing to collapse, sending the Tyranids tumbling to the ground. Not only does this save you time, but it also keeps you from being overwhelmed. So the next time you see a mass of Tyranids piling up, don't panic. Just aim for the middle and watch them crumble like a deck of cards. Heavy weapons for heavy situations. One last tip: always pick up those heavy weapons like the Heavy Bolter or Multi-Melta whenever you get the chance. These weapons don't take up your primary weapon slot in the campaign, so there's no reason not to grab them. Not only do they pack a serious punch, but they also help clear out enemies faster than your standard weapons. And remember, you can change your weapon loadout mid-mission, so don't hesitate to swap out weapons based on the enemies you're facing. Experiment with different combinations to find what works best for your playstyle. Execution mastery for maximum efficiency. Mastering executions in Space Marine 2 isn't just about looking like a total badass, though that's a nice perk. It's about using every tool at your disposal to stay alive, keep your armor up, and dish out as much damage as possible. With a combination of perfectly timed parries, strategic executions, and smart use of your environment, you'll be an unstoppable force on the battlefield. So gear up, get out there, and start executing those enemies for maximum benefit. Your armor and your teammates will thank you. As always, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Space Marine 2 strategies and tips. For the Emperor,